Are you listening?
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Binkowski Broadcast. It's your man Simon Binkowski and Adam Coumas. What's up, man? Yo, welcome. Welcome. Let's start right off the bat. Did you see the news? Did you see the social media? Did you hear about anyone being cancelled and deplatformed and sort of facing themselves in the mirror? Social media mirror.
So I was off Twitter for like 15 minutes. And when I came back, I noticed that a certain somebody didn't have access to a certain platform.
Oh, shit. And who would that be?
I can't remember his name. Kind of a very forgettable person. Hasn't really caused too much division.
Some average Joe, right? Some
certainly not the leader of the free world. That's for sure.
Of course. Of course.
Certainly not. And yeah, no, absolutely. Trump being banned from Twitter.
There you go. Cancel culture turns on Trump.
He got cancelled, all right.
How 2021 is that? Like,
I don't know. It's you know what? It's defining 2021 because
and it's the first month of
13 days in.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. We're not even 2 weeks in, and the president's been cancelled.
Absolutely, man. What do you think about it? Like, how do you think that deplatforming him is actually a good thing?
Look, I don't know. I think the majority of people, unless you're one of those people who stormed the Capitol, right? I think most people, when
the Patriots, yeah.
The only Patriots, because everybody else, as we know, everyone else hates America.
Yeah.
And I don't hate America. I just love China. We didn't do it last week, so I did it this week.
Yeah.
Please spare me, God. Yeah, I think it's weird. Like, I think when it first happened, right, and they were like, because obviously, look, this came off the bat of the Capitol riots, no doubt about it. But they'd suspended him previously for like a few hours, half a day. They'd been putting cautionary notes under his tweets when he was like saying, "Stop the steal, stop the count." They were putting Twitter were putting up these little things saying, just to let you know, this tweet has no substantial evidence. It's been disputed by experts in the field, blah, blah, blah. So it wasn't just like off the bat. It was almost as if like he'd been given disciplinaries before. And then suddenly they were like, no more toy for you. And that's the worst thing for Trump, right? Having his toy ripped away from him. Like, he is more attached to Twitter than a baby is to a fucking dummy, right? He was just there kind of going, Mah! And at first, because it came straight off the bat of, I'm not saying this is necessarily true and allegedly and all that shit. You can have allegedly flash on the screen right now if you want. But like the narrative was that Trump has incited these people to storm the Capitol, right?
Yep.
As we now know, sadly, 5 people have passed away as a result of that. One of them being a cop.
Yeah.
Which is quite weird to hear a cop dying during a protest. We're used to it being the other way around. It's kind of like a bit weird. You can tell it was a white protest. No.
Oh, shit.
I have no idea what color those people were. Yeah. Cancelled. Let's just say everyone who was raiding were Hispanics, just to be safe. Again, I'm joking. They were. You can see on the video footage the races that they were.
Yeah.
But when they first said he's been cancelled, I think, or he's been removed from Twitter, not the fact he's been cancelled, because I don't think anyone should be cancelled. But when they said, we've removed this tool, which is allowing him to incite violence.
Yeah. That's
how I first interpreted it. When they cancelled him off Twitter, I was like, and I first heard that news, and I don't know about you, man, but I felt the same. I was like, woohoo, great, good.
Yeah.
No more orchestrated, chaotic movements, right?
Yeah.
And then after I'd reflected on it for about a day, and I really thought about the ramifications of what this means, and what image this sends to the rest of the world. Because remember, every other country is looking at America, right?
Oh, of course, yeah.
Everyone's looking to how their president acts. Everyone's looking at the Capitol Hill riots. Everyone knows what Twitter is. Everyone is making judgments. And I think that despite how much of an idiot he can be, and as responsible or maybe not responsible, depending on what side you sit on, he is. Yeah. I've now come to the conclusion that deleting him, removing him from Twitter is not a good thing. And it's weird even saying it. And I take some solace in that the leaders of France and Germany, Merkel and Macron, they both feel it's the same. They both feel that it's problematic and it sets a huge precedence. And they're not fans of him as well. So saying Trump shouldn't have been cancelled or shouldn't have been banned does not make you a supporter of Trump and does not make you a Capitol Hill riot protester. But on further reflection, I think even though in the moment I was like, yeah, good, because he's causing a lot of chaos, on reflection, I'm thinking, I don't know if that's the right thing. And in fact, I don't think it's the right thing. I mean, that's my 2 cents.
I agree somewhat with it. Like when the news broke out, I was happy as probably most people, and I was like, yeah, this is a good thing. He's definitely, he's incited those people to do the thing that they did, and he should absolutely pay for it. And I still do think that he should pay for it. But I'm just worried that something like that will set has a possibility to set a dangerous precedent. It's like, how in business, competition is good for the end consumer, right? Like you need competition to sort of drive each other and everything. And I feel the same goes for a public discussion. And, I think whether that's how Twitter is used, that's a separate thing. But
absolutely not.
Yeah, exactly. But Twitter is I think it started as one of the tools to have a public discourse, right? And you need opposing opinions to then sort of come into conclusion and things like that, because everyone thinking the way you think is not good either. But I'm not convinced him being cancelled, deplatformed is a good thing.
No.
And it's not just Twitter. It's Facebook, it's Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram.
Pinterest?
Yeah.
Imagine who the fuck uses Pinterest? Like, now I can't Google coffee table ideas. Like, Jesus Christ, Pinterest. I know you're like...
Everything.
That's the thing that's annoying me most about this, right? I'm like, I don't care if he's been deplatformed and you're for him or against him. The fact that Pinterest thinks... We're not going to get out. Like, fuck off. Like, I don't like you, Pinterest. Okay. Like, yes, I've got an account with you, and yes, I have to look at you because sometimes I do want to check out if I want to get new cushions, how they're going to look in my living room. But other than that, you're useless.
Everything. It's really interesting to watch.
He can't have an Etsy account. Did you know that?
He can't have anything.
He can't have an Etsy account. He can't make his own little knitted products.
There you go. Shopify.
That's a lie, but yeah, but probably.
Is it? All right. Okay. I didn't hear about Etsy, so I can't confirm it. But Shopify cancelled him as well. YouTube just today, as of the 13th 13th of January, banned his account for 7 days at least for now. There's various banks that are now refusing doing contracts with him, and it's so fascinating to watch. It's like.
That's weird.
It's almost like the whole, like everything that was happening the past few years, the whole cancel culture and everything, which in a lot of cases was right, but then in a lot of cases wasn't. It was just a fucking witch hunt. It's almost like all of that energy is now brought like onto Trump, and it's going to be interesting what comes out of it and how he sort of retaliates against it, right? He's been, the fact that he's been like, I'm surprised like the amount of stuff he's been cancelled from, and it's like he's been cancelled from things that you didn't even know you could get. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if it goes, yes, Subway have issued a statement saying if he walks into any Subway in New York, he's not getting served. You say that, but a lot of the congressmen that supported Trump, the Republican Party, a lot of them have been barred and cancelled from Olive Garden, which is a popular American food chain, and they had like they were cancelled from the Olive Garden's unlimited pasta pass. I heard that recently. And I was like, shit.
That sounds like something separate. The fact that they can still come, but they can't get the unlimited pasta pass.
Yeah,
that, you know what? That sounds like a separate issue. Like the congressman of these people, it just sounds like they were just abusers of the pasta system, and they were like maybe had a bit too much weight on. And this is just separate, and they're just like, look, I know that he's got these congressmen. They're doing a lot of bad stuff with Trump, and we have no issues with that. As Olive Garden, we have no issues with what Trump are doing, allegedly, right? But I can imagine having that thing of going, but they are just taking the piss with the pasta pass, like, which is a separate issue. And then I think like when they were like, right, Trump, you're cancelled from all these platforms, no Pinterest for you, no Twitter, and then Olive Garden go, and no pasta pass, and they were like, yeah, okay, no pasta pass as well. And they're like, yeah, we've done that now.
It's ridiculous. And
that is
do you think
that's just insulting?
What's insulting?
Like, imagine if they were like, if I went to Pizza Hut, which I would never do, as a grown man, I think you go to Pizza Hut twice in your life, once at 14 for your 14th birthday and once for your 40th birthday. And they're both tragic events. But if I was to go to Pizza Hut and they said, right, by the way, Adam, all your mates or family, whoever it is, they can have unlimited salad or unlimited ice cream or whatever. But because of you and your character, we're going to just say we're not going to offer you that. I'm like, what the fuck? Am I some lunatic who just only eats ice cream? And, it's just a weird diss. Yeah. Like, you can still come to Pizza Hut. We're not banning you because of your values. We just think you take the piss when it comes to the all-you-can-eat buffet. Stupid.
Do you think deplatforming works as a whole? Like, do you think that's a good way to sort of move forward with that? Because I don't know.
I think it works. I don't think it's a good thing though, because
why is that?
I mean, I guess it works for some people, right? And it doesn't work for others. So people who it's worked in terms of it works. So it depends when you say it works as well. It depends like whether you got to look at it from the point of view of Twitter, YouTube, whoever's deplatforming, right? Yeah. Alex Jones.
Yeah.
You mentioned him before the call. He got deplatformed from YouTube and Twitter because he was saying some crazy shit. He was saying some really accurate shit as well, but he was mixing in with too much bullshit. Like he could come out with 10 things that were accurate, but if you stir in a further 17 stupid predictions which offend a bunch of people and turn out to be absolute bollocks, then you are an idiot. Like, just do your research. Yeah. But he's obviously found success on, I think his show's InfoWars or something.
I think that's cancelled now. Like, I don't think he has anywhere to stream.
From where? Doesn't he do it on his own website? I don't think there's.
I think that might be the only way for him to do it.
Yeah. So, but what I'm saying is, he's got enough of a following, and he's notorious enough to have some sort of following off these main platforms, right?
Yeah.
Because again, deplatforming isn't an issue, providing you can get your own website and you're not reliant on Amazon servers or some shit. So. That works, and for him it hasn't worked. And for the people trying to counter Alex Jones, it hasn't worked because he's still there. He was on the Joe Rogan podcast towards the end of the last year, and he was he got millions upon millions of views his episode, right? Because he was deplatformed. You only do them a favor. But then other people, like that Milo Yiannopoulos or whatever his name is, people like that. He got cancelled. He lost his job at Breitbart. And again, I'm not defending these types of people, right? Because I'm sure he said some horrendous shit. There's some shit that he said that kind of has a point.
It really depends how you look at it. Like,
but he's gone, right? I actually tried looking him up just for shits and gigs. I was like, let me just, as an interesting thing, I'm like, let's see if this person's career is actually over. And he's actually gone. Like, he's now a nobody. If you're watching this, mate, sorry. But he probably can't even watch it because he probably can't even access YouTube anymore. So
you have the same with someone like Katie Hopkins, for example. She's been permanently sort of removed from Twitter.
She's an interesting one, right? Because I can't remember, but she also had a stint where she was a regular co-host on LBC. And she had quite a big of
which is a radio station, right? In England, in the UK.
Yeah, really popular one, and so she's gone, but I reckon she could probably come back, or I think she's just decided to regress and take a step out. I don't know if she's still fighting to be in the limelight now.
Really?
Again, not
Right.
defending what Katie Hopkins says. She's a very mean lady, and sometimes when she sees a fat person, she goes, "You're fat," which of course we all know is unacceptable unless you're a man. But it's just one of those things where, yeah, I never want to defend these people who are being really horrible, and if they are let's talk about it as well. Like, I don't know if you managed to look up, but Twitter's now putting themselves as a publisher, right?
Yeah.
They've cancelled Trump, they've removed Trump, but then they've also got people who are doing horrific things who are still on Twitter from other countries, right?
Yeah, they do for sure. I think you still have the Syrian president. You have the heads of like Saudi Arabia, top people in the government. I think the royal family. What's interesting, like I don't think he's on Twitter, but on Facebook you have the president of Philippines.
He's a nice guy, isn't he? He's only got positive things to say.
Yeah, man.
He's all about rehabilitation and
weaponizing people against journalists and things like that.
Oh, I thought he was a nice guy. Is he not the nice guy who loves everybody and cares about everyone?
I guess he's nice by his standards.
No, he's a monster, that guy, isn't he?
Yeah, man, absolutely.
Allegedly.
But it's interesting. It's interesting because it's interesting that Facebook cancelled Trump, but they don't cancel for whatever reason people like that. People like the president or the prime minister of Philippines, and sort of by what standards, what measures do you go by? Like,
because I mean, I don't know.
It's almost as if, like I said in the beginning, Trump is, for whatever reason, being used as a scapegoat. Like, I'm not defending him, but he's almost sort of being made an example out of. But it almost seems like it's just for the Western world, and the other side of the world, the Eastern side of the world, doesn't. Because even though, participate in it.
Okay, but to counteract that, despite what you've just said, and some of the things, like, I know Xi Jinping, you don't want to fuck with that guy, man. He will get you. Same with Putin. Don't want to fuck with Putin. I don't know the name of the guy of the Philippines. Sorry, mate. Haven't bothered to look you up.
Yeah.
But those people, by and large, are supported by their countries and by their people. And that's the thing we're not taking into account. We might look at them and go, "You're barbaric. What are you doing in China? You're setting up concentration camps. This is insane. Are you mad? What are you doing to Hong Kong, ripping away the rights from people?"
Yeah.
But by and large, the people of these countries are in support of them. Putin gets a majority, right? He's very popular. The same with the guy in the Philippines, right? They are majority popular people. Trump wasn't the majority. He's although he had 80 million people following on Twitter, 75 million votes, I think, voted for him, he was still very unpopular. And I think the conversations will be had, like, these other leaders as well, that, Xi Jinping, Putin, they're quite happy for the most part to operate in the background and do their dark biddings. Yeah. Trump's always been a celebrity. He wants to continue that stardom, right? You can be a conservative. You can be a quiet, regressive, like Sleepy Joe, they call him, Joe Biden, Sleepy Joe. He's going to snooze his way through the next 8 years if he makes it that long. God bless.
Kamala Harris, man. She's going to be the next president.
She very well might be. If he doesn't make it through 4 years, she'll be it by default.
Yeah.
And you'll be surprised. I wonder what the American public will do, because I was always disappointed. I always thought, like, they voted in Trump after Obama, and it was like, you kind of undid like a lot of the stuff, all the progressive stuff. And I'm not saying Obama was progressive before you go, he droned and killed more people than everyone else. Like, yeah, he actually did, but he looks cool, and I think that's the thing we're forgetting. It seemed progressive. So. And I'm a fan of Barack Obama just because he's cool, and that's a fickle stance to take. But fuck it, you voted for him for that exact same reason, Americans. But I don't know. I think because Trump's a celebrity and he likes all the lights on him, right? He loves it, and because he's flown too close to the sun, and he's like blah 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 blah. I don't know if he even wanted. I mean, I don't know. Here's me giving my 2 cents, being an idiot, right? I don't even know if he actually wanted to what happened at Capitol Hill to be as bad as he did. I think I don't know, open to interpretation. I don't want to offend anyone, but I think he probably just I think he was just like, go outside and cheer a bit and maybe just show like keep some sort of face going, look, I might be leaving and I might be, but I've still got a lot of support. I don't think he actually wanted to them to go in and fucking do what they did and fuck shit up and become like traitors of the state and enemies of the state.
I don't know, man. There's different reports, but there's different reports. Like I've seen reports where apparently, allegedly, people close to him in his sort of circle at that time said that he was like, yeah, he was all for it and everything.
But what are they going to do?
What's interesting is also sort of what I don't want to necessarily go into the whole Capitol riot thing, but he supported them initially, and then he threw them under the bus, like
because it's all about him, right? So he was like, if I say well done, then that's confirming what you think about me and the fact that I've incited this hatred. I'm going to get arrested as soon as I'm the president. So I don't know, but because he's such a celebrity and he does look like. There's people who are behind the scenes doing far more shady things than Trump are, right? And they're getting away with it because they're not celebrities and they don't like the stardom. They don't like the spotlight. Because he's doing that, he's been now put under pressure. He's been deplatformed. So,
don't you feel that it almost seems like the social media companies sort of all jumped at an opportunity to, show, oh, we are these good progressive companies, which for the most part they are, but every company has their shady shit.
How are they good and how are they progressive? When you say that for the most part they are, I don't know if they are, man. I think they like to be seen as that.
Both sides, yeah, of course.
So I think
in some ways you could argue that you don't get to that stage of like Google, Facebook, Twitter by being playing by the rules, being.
They are absolutely not progressive. When it comes to finances, they are all about bottom lines. Jeff Bezos looking at Amazon, they pay their stuff shit. They are all about the money, right? But they know they're having their cake and eat it. Without me getting too preachy about this, having their cake, they eat it, because on the one side, they're a conservative business. They pay fuck all tax. They don't pay their staff any good stuff, wages. They lobby like shit to get what they want, which is not in the great interest of the people. Facebook knows that it's not in the public's greater good to track everybody, right? But they know that they can get a lot of money out of this and sell it to advertisers if they do. So on the face of it, though, they can go, we're very progressive and we are for the people. Because remember, for every story you've got Zuckerberg saying, or Twitter saying we're banning Trump, there's another story about saying Facebook harvests data. With the Cambridge Analytica scandal, and WhatsApp is now requiring you for every message to be read. So I think you'd have to be very naive to think that they're all just progressive and they're not doing anything. I think it's basically a very thin husk of, we want to be seen to be progressive because we know that that's popular. It's like when, just quickly going, when Nike, right, and I'm pronouncing it in the American way, the correct way, I guess, Nike showed solidarity with Colin Kaepernick when he took the knee, right? That wasn't because Nike gives a shit about black votes or black rights. It was because they thought, who's our demographic? It's probably black people, right? More so than white people, like white stuck-up men, middle-aged men going, oh, I wear shoes. And it's like, they're like, right, this is going to be more profitable for us to show solidarity. And I know you had like a week of like angered white people going, I'm burning my trainers. And as soon as they got the flames of the trainer, they're like, oh, this costs 120 quid because it's Nike. Like, oh, I won't, but I'm not going to wear them for a day. And it's like, it's all profit at the end of the day. I think businesses will occasionally do the right things, but for the wrong reasons. They'll always do it for money.
Well, speaking of businesses and all the biggest tech companies like Amazon, Google, Facebook, Twitter, what do you think of them monopolizing, sort of joining forces and essentially putting a whole social media app out of business? And I'm talking about Parler, right? That's what they did. They all forced them out of their stores. And it's not even that these companies blocked a person and a powerful person like the president of the United States. They fucking took down a whole social media app. Like that's interesting as well.
Well, that's very sneaky, right? Don't get me wrong. I know Parler was becoming just like a cesspit for certain types, right? Yeah. But again, it's just a tool. It was a legitimate. It could have been, if Trump went to Parler, right? That would have become easily a legitimate competitor for the first time in years, right? We know what Facebook, Google, and Amazon think of competitors.
Yeah.
Fuck them, right? Snapchat, we're going to give you the option to join us. We'll buy you out. Snapchat were like, no, thanks. Okay, we're going to take the best things of your business, rip it out, and then you'll die off, which is what's happening. Same with TikTok, right? They were like, all right, we can either put in a bid to save you or we'll just create reels, right? Facebook is ruthless with that sort of shit.
Yeah.
So them doing this and removing Amazon saying, right, we're going to take you off our servers so you can't host and the website's gone down. That is super shady because they are using that as an excuse to be like, we're doing it because it's evil. It's an evil company, isn't it? It's like, it's not really.
More than shady, man. It's like when you think about it, it's
opportunistic is what it is.
It's definitely, opportunistic. But it's not taking down one person. It's taking down a whole... I don't know if I'm making it sort of seem
it's crushing a competitor. There's no other way to look at it. They are crushing a competitor, which would ultimately, if Trump went on there, in theory, Parler could have become a proper competitor to these businesses, and they don't need that kind of support. And then if it becomes like, oh, Twitter's too busy. The thing about Twitter is, Twitter didn't see. I don't think Twitter had a say in Parler getting rid of it. And obviously, it was only really a competitor to Twitter. I don't think it was a competitor to Facebook in the same way, or Amazon. But I think they were just like,
well, I'm just saying Twitter because it's part of that big tech sort of circle, right?
I mean, if Parler really wanted to be, the thing is though, what they're doing unwittingly is they're forcing these new companies to be more nimble. And they're going, I don't know if I mentioned this in the last episode, but that, in the future, like they can't do that to Bitcoin, right? Because Bitcoin doesn't have one server. Bitcoin has miners all across the world who are getting, a few coins, but they are inadvertently hosting that coin. To shut something down like Bitcoin, you need to pinpoint every location that Bitcoin was being mined in all over the world, probably a million locations, all secretive as well. I can guarantee those people who are mining Bitcoins probably using VPNs and all this sort of encrypted shit. You couldn't do it.
Yeah.
They're going to force the next Parler type company to do something like that because of what they're doing. So all they're doing is they're just, they're sort of making it. They're forcing them to evolve. So,
in a way, I get that. But looking at it from another perspective, even though for the most part I don't share the same views as sort of the most prominent users of Parler and supporters of Trump, etc. I don't necessarily want everyone silenced. I think if you're not endorsing hate and hate speech, those opinions should be heard as well. It's like everyone has a right to their own opinion, obviously, and that's part of a public discourse, right? You need opposing views, and then come to a conclusion, or at least trying to understand the other side. Because, like we said,
which is the worst place, right?
Which is like what we said in the previous episode. Like most people are in the center. You might support a little bit from the left and a little bit from the
average person on the street, right? And I think, do you know what I've noticed the trend is, right? With people who are in the middle, you've got people on the extreme right, the extreme left, and you've got people in the middle. From my experience, the people who are in the middle are usually the ones with jobs. If you've got a job, you've got to suck it up. You're gonna have a few different people you don't like or you don't get on with, and you want to. I think it's normally the unemployed or the people who are like really unhappy in the places that they work, and they're looking for an outlet. I think that's it. Like whenever I hear someone and they've become super radicalized, they're either unemployed or they're struggling or they're really pissed off and they need to scapegoat someone. And that's normally either the right or the left. Yeah. It's like that goes to both sides. Like I know people on the right who are like super right, who are like cretins almost. And they're like, oh yeah, this is all evil and all lives matter. Not all lives matter, just white lives matter. And it's just like, all right, just at least say all lives, fucking hell, mate. Rather than just one. And then they're unemployed and you go, that's the reason why you're so full of hate. And then I've seen people on the end like, yeah, like I have blue hair and I work in media. And it's like, oh really? It's like I just think everyone should be cancelled. It's like, oh, and what do you work? I'm currently between jobs, but mommy and daddy pay my salary, so it's okay. And it's just like, people who have jobs can't afford to be extreme right or extreme left in the workplace.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's going to be interesting moving, like, as we said in the beginning, we're just in January and the year is just getting started, and it's going to be a crazy.
It's not even getting, you know what? It's weird. Like, I don't know if like the way I've looked at it now is the year's not just getting started. I just feel like this was the climax to the end of the movie. It just spilled into 2021. This should have always been at the end of 2020, but there was not enough footage.
I feel like 2021 might be more interesting. Like more shit will happen. Like, what Trump does after he gets out of the office is going to be interesting. And yeah, it's just crazy shit right in the beginning of the year. Like last year we had fires. This year we have riots, fires, vaccine, pandemics, lockdowns, everything.
What about the Oscars though? That's the most important thing. What about the Oscars?
Fuck the Oscars.
That's not what you said a few episodes ago. You were like, most important thing of the year, guys. Parasite one.
Well, yeah, because it was something new. Like,
it was something new, yeah. Exactly. I wonder what this year's movie is going to be. That's what I care about now. I think people need to get used to. You know what I think? I think people need to get used to. Before the pandemic, I think people weren't as politicized as they are now. I think everyone was just kind of like, I'm happy being an idiot. I do my job. I go home. I watch a Friends repeat again. Yeah. Even though I've watched this episode 17 times. Go to bed, and then they just sleep. And then now, because everyone's locked in at home and you can't even go outside, like you're sort of like touching the windows, you're going, what was it like getting out? Everyone's taking vitamin D tablets because they're not getting enough sunlight. I think now we've become increasingly politicized because of that, because you're just bored. So now everyone's an expert on
everyone thinks
what the Secretary of Education should be doing. And it's like,
everyone thinks their opinion matters.
But you know what they say about opinions? They're just like arseholes. Everybody has one.
Exactly. And we do too. So thank you for listening.
I've got two arseholes.
Exactly. He's just filled with
one
them.
On each cheek. It's really awkward. It's very weird.
Thank you for listening to Binkowski Broadcast this week. Make sure you go and check out Adam's channel on YouTube, Adam Coumas on YouTube. The link is going to be linked down below.
Awesome. I'm the only Adam Coumas on YouTube.
Exactly. The only and the best one. So go make sure you go and check it out.
By default.
Check it out. See you guys next week. Take care. Bye.
See ya.